A couple additional comments. There was the report in the New York Post about one of what they're doing, what Biden administration's doing. They're flying in people who came illegally, dumping a lot in Jacksonville in the middle of the night. And there was an individual who had posed as a 17-year-old, actually was in the mid-20s, brought here, had been here, ended up committing a murder. And so now this individual has been detained, should have never been in this country to begin with, and definitely should not have been dumped in the state of Florida. And so these are middle-of-the-night flights, no notification to the state or anybody, and this is not the way you keep people safe. It's reckless and it's wrong. And I'm going to ask the legislature to see what can we do to make sure that they can't just do this with impunity, because these are private contractors the federal government's hiring, coming in. You know, if you're bringing in problems like that, then I think we have to reevaluate, you know, what you're able to do business-wise in the state of Florida. So we're going to definitely do. I'm going to see what we can do from executive. We have, of course, have a pending lawsuit against the Biden administration challenging their catch and release policies. But this is what happens when you engage in reckless policies. We also have just seen published today this proposed OSHA rule with the forced vaccinations. And I just want to say, we've said from the very beginning, Florida will contest that immediately. They do not have the authority to unilaterally impose this through an executive agency like OSHA. If you read what they're saying this is an imminent danger. It's got to be an emergency rule. These people have been working this whole time. They've been working for a year and a half. They've been working. They announced that they were going to do this in September. It took them 6 weeks to write the rule, and it doesn't go into effect until January. So they're abusing emergency power to be able to do what they would not be able to get through the Congress and do in a constitutional way. And so we are going to be challenging that. And I think this rule is absolutely going down. And it's just not something that is appropriate. Forget about even the substantive issue, which is a legitimate thing. I mean, you know, my view is, and we're going to have the legislature come in a couple weeks, is, you know, people should not be in a situation where they're faced with the jab or their jobs. People have been working. We don't want to kick people out of jobs. And that's true if you're a police officer, if you're a firefighter. It's also true if you're in the private sector. We want to protect people's jobs. It's not right to treat people that way. And so that's just bottom line fundamental. But even beyond that, at what point does the federal government have the limit to their power? If they can just go ahead and impose this on the entire private economy through an executive fiat, that's not the way our constitutional system is set up. So Florida will be responding, and I think the rule's going down. I just don't think that there's an adequate basis for it, and I think you've even seen people on their side acknowledge that they don't have firm constitutional footing for this. Congress has never legislated this. This is just pure executive edicts. And then the final thing I'll just say, because, you know, people have been asking with these childhood vaccines in Florida, there will be no mandate for COVID vaccines for children allowed. I mean, that is a parent's decision, and it's already not lawful to mandate COVID vaccine for young children, and we're going to make sure that is enforced and that parents are the ones that can make these you know, key decisions for their children and for their future. And so with that, I'm happy to take a few questions. Yes, sir. So we basically months ago the vaccines are going to everybody in the normal medical system the way it is. So it's like we're not doing vaccine sites. They're at the pharmacies. They're readily available for everybody. I don't think that there's any difference in the vaccine that's doing. I think they may take a lower dosage. So there's no shortage of availability of any of that, but it's not something that the state is administering at this point. That we basically got it through the whole economy in April, and so it's been available at every drugstore since then. All right, thanks guys, we'll see you soon.
All right, thank you.